Can you hear us now? So sorry about that. John just told us that the mic was off. I had actually muted it because I was trying to be smarter than the system. Uh, can you hear us? John is not quite with us yet, so he gave us the thumbs up. He's going to be with. He's just charging up his phone right now. Uh, they are all God's creatures. Thank you so much for letting us know. Uh, I'm going to try to do something so I can see your guys' comments really quick. Can you go through those announcements again?
Oh, so we've had some sad news in the community in the last few weeks. A dear friend, we have lost the wife of Rick White, Melissa White. She lost her battle to cancer, so that was so sad. And so our hearts are with him and his family. She lost a long battle with cancer, so that was really unfortunate. And if any of you watch Edward Tyndall, his wife is in the hospital right now, and she's not recovering, and so that's really sad as well. And so we're just very thankful tonight for our health and everything that we have.
We don't know if she's recovering or not. We just know that she's still in the hospital, and our prayers are with her. And we're so sad. She's in our prayers, and hopefully we hope she recovers and makes a full recovery and comes back to you guys on YouTube. Um, it's just been kind of a rough couple weeks for people, and we're sorry. But so John, you cannot see John because John's charging up his phone. He's just getting ready to join us. We finally got all the equipment to him, and so we're gonna start doing our podcast here. So we're looking at actually tonight's gonna be one of the times that we're gonna hash out what we think is gonna be best. And if you guys have any ideas for what we might be able to do to make the podcast a little more exciting for you guys, or add some things that you may not know about that you want to learn about, that would be awesome. Um, so let's see. Scotty Poo, you said you can't see John. He's coming. Um, they are all God's creatures. Hello, Michigan Exotics. Hey guys. Actually, that guy out of Russia, Lorja GS or Tao, he was saying maybe we should interview you. So maybe we'll try to schedule that in the next. It's probably going to be a couple months, but if you're up for that, maybe we can find a time to get together and pick your brain a little bit. We're really interested with this podcast to going back to the old days, the way it was, and just to give people a perspective of how much the evolution of the reptile keeping, how it's gained in popularity and technology and all that. Uh, Trav Angela, hello, and the Mexican, hey, it's nice to see you.
What's up, Romero?
Thanks for joining us. What else is going on?
Well, we're finally pretty much settled and moved, so that's kind of crazy. So we've been here a complete month. We were here the entire month of August, and there was a lot of moving going on during that time, but we finally have most of the animals here, most of the enclosures here. There is a part of our collection that's still with someone else that got moved before we even got moved, and we should have that portion back pretty soon. I'm going to Sanderson to pick up a pair of beautiful snakes tomorrow morning.
So be on the lookout for that. Another announcement we want to make is tomorrow we plan on doing some videos, tarantula videos. So you guys will get to see some more of that. We've got some pretty exciting things. There's a new species that was just bred in the United States for the first time this summer. We ended up with a few specimens, so we don't have any adults, but the guy that bred them was gracious enough to send us some footage. So we'll be doing a video with all that included. And it's a really good looking animal. The name of it's an undescribed species, but it's really a stunning animal when they grow up, and really looking forward to raising them up. The slings have been doing great. We've had them for almost 2 months now, and they're just a pleasure to work with. So Marie will be on the road tomorrow, so hopefully she'll be safe. We did have a cold spell this week, so we got a sulcata. Oh, oh wow! Hey, I can play music on this. So we've got a sulcata tortoise running around our house right now, tearing stuff up.
Yeah.
He's a pain in the butt. Oh, somehow I can still hear
Yeah,
that
me too.
going.
That's weird.
Our delay is feeding back into our microphone, so we're new to the all this stuff. Um, Trying to figure out how technology works. I'm way too old school, and she's got a better handle on it. But when it comes to recording stuff, it's kind of a challenge. Hey, keep your phone because John said he was going to let us know when his phone is charged up. And Texas life, we love it. The people here have been fantastic. Uh, it's just exciting that we don't have to drive so far. We've got the NARBC's coming up.
Yes.
We're hoping to go that's the last weekend of this month, and that's in Arlington, Texas.
Yes.
So if you guys are there, hit us up and come say hi. Hopefully I'll be there. I might have to stay home, but I'm going to do everything I can to go. Of course, moving to a new job, my responsibilities are a little more diverse than they were at my old job. So that's of course got to come first in the world.
Yeah, definitely for me too. So I'm teaching in a new state, but in quarantine. So that's been exciting. Being a teacher during the quarantine is definitely have to have a crash course in technology because in Texas, in our district, what we're doing is we're offering school face to face as well as remote teaching services. So some of our students are attending school from home, and so we're doing things online. And then I also still have a full time regular job where I have classrooms full of kids, and so it's been different. It's been exciting. We spend a lot of our time disinfecting and sanitizing and, putting on masks and staying away from each other. It's really scary and weird because before school started, they were saying the kids can't touch books, they can't touch each other, they can't face each other. It's different. It's a whole different world. And so PE looks different, and teaching reading to elementary kids look different. It's all different. So
Lars Hitfield, hello, Mexican. Can't wait to see you. It's awesome that you're going to be at the NARBC. But I wanted to make a public service announcement. Do not speed. Do not do anything on the roads right now, because the cops they're hurting for money so bad they will pull you over and nail you for the biggest thing they can. It happened to me, and it happened to a friend of mine here a couple days ago. I got stuck in a construction zone that they had just changed, which we'd driven through 100 times, and they just nailed me to the wall. I mean, they do not care about you. The cops are not here to help you. I don't know if any of you out there are police officers, but it's not a good deal right now to be on the road. You want to drive extremely safe and make sure you stay vigilant, because the cops will get you. And we're hearing it more and more.
Just follow the law, be safe, be careful, all that stuff.
Yes, and some new changes. We actually tried to pair some frogs today, and we tried to pair some snakes. It's a little bit early for next season, so surprisingly, we didn't. Unsurprisingly, we didn't really have any action, but we did a pretty cool video with the snapping turtle today.
Oh yeah.
She's actually hand feeding a snapping turtle, so look forward to that. That's I'm hoping to get it edited and maybe get it out tomorrow or Monday. It's going to be kind of a short video, but we really enjoyed making it. It was a beautiful day out today, and that turtle was just saying, feed me, so she did, and it was really cool. We're still trying to figure out all our property. We got a pig, and our pig is a little bit of a troublemaker, and he decided to go on a walkabout in our neighborhood, and he was gone for a little bit. So we were asking around, saying, "Hey, if you see a pig, he's ours." And all of a sudden, I found out that somebody I work with actually lives right down the street from me. And I told him, well, if you see a pig, just let us know. We're looking for him. He got out, and she calls me 2 hours later. She says, oh, my husband has him. So we go over there, and he said, yeah, it's a good thing you came because this weekend we were going to cut him, and another week we were going to eat him. So it was almost a meal. So now we got a miniature pig that is just about a pot belly. He's so fat.
He's a double pork chop now. He's
Yeah.
got a couple extra chins, and he was getting fed well because he was about to be somebody's barbecue.
So he's all wild now. You go in there and he just starts snorting and grunting. But we're glad to have him back. Looks like John's here. Let's get him popped into the show. Oh, he's here. Yep,
see.
there he is. So can you hear us at all?
Yep, I'm here.
Yay.
Sorry, guys.
So he's looking like
I
he's got
can't hear you through my computer. I'm having to listen through it on YouTube. So everyone, there's going to be a little bit of a delay on my part, possibly.
No, let's hook you up through the phone, John. Is your phone charged at 50%? He's got a 10-second delay, so it's going to be a little bit before he starts talking.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, go ahead and call him.
Okay.
All right, he's getting his phone set up. So I'm sure you guys have heard. Is it on speaker? Can you hear, John?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. We're getting ready to do a podcast, so we were actually talking about getting together. Can you hear us now? Could you put it behind me? Yeah. Okay. So we were gonna actually sit down and try to figure out what we're gonna do on the podcast, and we decided to do. What did you call it, John?
The name?
No, not the name. What did you said we needed to get together? What
conference?
Is that? A conference.
Yeah, we needed to do a conference and figure this out.
Yeah, so this is our conference. That's what's going on.
It's a good conference. I like it. Marita's already in the vino. I'm touching the malt liquor. We're gonna have a good time.
So one of the things that Michigan Exotics was here, and so I told him the guy out of Russia, his name's Laura G.S. Sertao. I don't know if you watch him.
Lorca?
I don't know. His name is actually something else, but
I want to say it's Lorga, but I'm not. He's on mine as well as your guys's all the time, and I feel really bad about it because he's probably one of my most steadfast followers, and I can't say the name, and it drives me crazy.
Well, I actually want to interview him. He said he'd be willing to do that.
Hell yeah!
And so let me see. He just sent us an email. So I guess his first name is
Peter.
Peter. So what he was. So some of the people. So. He was talking about different people that he recommended for interviews. So I was just going to try to find who it was. So I would like to ask if you would be interested to interview Ron Heisenberg from BBM Reptiles. He's the guy in Puerto Rico, which hopefully we'll be able to do him. And then, or we'll ask him if he wants to do it. And then Adam and Joel. Well, he's just talking about the R&B, and Adam and Joel. We'll definitely do R&B. Adam and Joel, I think the last time that we tried to hook up with them, they said, yeah, we're going to do it. And then the day that came up, just like Freedom Breeder, it was like no words, just couldn't hear him. So I don't know that I want to even try that again.
We're definitely going to have Chris Eaton on if he can find the time.
Yep. And then There was one other guy. I had already said the name of that person. Oh, Michigan Exotics.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to get him on. And so that's 3 or 4 people. And if we're not talking about doing this really regularly, that will set us back for several months. So if we can get these guys scheduled up, another guy that she was trying to interview for a podcast, which we did not get a hold of yet because he's so busy, is John Richards.
Mm-hmm.
He's turtleman.com. The guy does alligator snappers, but he's been doing reptiles for many, many years. He's really knowledgeable. He's another guy that we want to try to hit up. So Scotty Poo said there's still a delay. I'm not sure exactly.
I think it was when I was going through YouTube instead of just the phone.
Okay, hopefully so. So, guys in the audience, if there's something that you want to ask about or would like us to talk about, go ahead and drop it in the comment feed. So, John, how old are your kids?
My kids? Josiah turns 5 right before the show. Elena is 2.5, and Gabriel's 1.5.
Okay, so none of them are even school age. I didn't know if your kids were in school there or what was going on with the schools there.
It's pretty much the same thing. They have, I think it's elementary is actually in class, but it's kind of the same thing that you're going through. I know my sister-in-law is a teacher in, what is it? Yeah. Where's she? It's out of Austin. Like it's one of the schools in Austin.
Okay.
So like 3/4 of what she does is all through like Microsoft Teams or stuff like that. And then she gets a little bit of hands-on, but I don't know. Like it's kind of hard for her too. Like I feel like it'd be a lot easier for you just because you have the experience. You've been a teacher for a few years now. This is only her, what is it? Her second or third year being a teacher. So it's been a very hit the ground running experience for her so far. Sorry, my wife's standing in a dark corner. Like, hey.
Well, one other thing that I wanted to say is Ibn's Arachnids, that's IBNS Arachnids, sent an email out and said, "Hello, Marita. I was very happy to see that you have made it back to YouTube and are doing podcasts. Also, that your move went well." He was emailing asking about some slings. And then he said, "I truly like the way you handle your pairing and your egg sacs when you pull them. You've been a huge influence and inspiration for me to my own projects. My Pteranopelma sazami onyx is gravid, and I don't think it would have been possible without the guidance from you and others who have been in the hobby for a long time. I have such honor and respect for everything you do. So on that note, please take care and keep in touch and look forward to hearing from you. I hope you might have some slings I could buy from you. Looking forward to your next video as well." And then he sent a picture of the gravid tarantula. So, yeah, and that's exactly why we do that channel, is we want to inspire other people that may not have decided to try something new or a new species to go ahead and give it a shot, because some of those people that just kind of thought, turned into be some of the most premier experts on that species, just working with them and learning about them.
With a little encouragement. And so, there used to be a big problem in the 80s and 90s where if somebody would figure something out, they really would guard that secret with their lives. And we have never, we want all animal keepers to be successful and ultimately for animals to be reproduced in captivity. Hello, Beauty. I saw her. We want all animals to be reproduced successfully and safely. And so we're all about sharing that knowledge. And I think it's kind of funny when people say that we don't know what we're talking about or that we're wrong, because we're doing it. So maybe you do it differently, and that's great if it works for you. But we like to share what we know works. And then that can give somebody without the experience at least some baseline knowledge. And then as you get more experienced, maybe you find your own little tweaks and ways to do it. But, there are things that for certain species, maybe they needed to be flooded to induce breeding, or maybe it's better to put the female with the male or the male with the female, or to cohabitate them for a week. Or, different species have different proclivities. And so we like to teach people that stuff and hopefully inspire them.
And that was something
Or you
that
just give them a trial by fire and give them a possibly gravid tarantula when they're scared of tarantulas. That's a great way of doing it too.
Hey, that's how you learn.
Could
Trial
do
by
that.
fire.
Yeah. So speaking of which, how are all your tarantulas doing?
So
are any of them alive?
Yes, they're all the two that are left are still alive. They're doing very well. We had that one that decided to go swimming when tarantulas can't swim, even though we had a very we used the plastic caps from water bottles, and we would just take a little mist sprayer and we'd spray twice, and that's all the water that they got. And I guess that was enough at that sling's age that it decided it was time to go swimming, and it couldn't find its way out, unfortunately. And then the other one, as my wife likes to put it, got ate by a zombie cricket because we pulled the head, but apparently it was still able to eat the spider. Either that or I have a sling in my house somewhere, which I don't think
that's
so.
not possible. No.
I really hope not, because then I'm
sure that's.
I'm gonna say that the zombie cricket got it. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's the zombie cricket. So I can sleep at night.
John. Don't be afraid.
The other one's doing great. She's I don't know if it's a she or a he. Me and the wife keep calling it a she, and she's growing. She's got a huge abdomen right now. She puts down a cricket every week. She's starting to get her little hairs and everything, and she is not afraid of us. She actually comes out and greets us every time we open up for her, so it's pretty cool. Getting over the fear little by little.
You might be giving your he tarantula gender identity issues.
Well, my wife has this thing. She senses sexuality, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So before we got the gender reveal for every one of our kids, she knew exactly what it was. She just said it. All of our friends, even our friends that have been pregnant before they got the gender reveal, she's like, "This is what I feel you're having," and she hasn't missed yet. So I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say the sling is a female until proven otherwise.
Did you guys name her?
We haven't yet. We're still figuring out names.
Well, just to let you know, I only know one other person that can 100% get the identity of the sex, and it's somebody you know, Super Dave. 100% of the time, 100% of the time, he's wrong. If he says that's a male, it's a girl. If he says it's a girl, it's a male. He's wrong.
Everyone that he says is a male, I'm going to start picking up then.
Well, and it's really funny because, of course, before and now I don't have this issue, but he would come in and say, this one's not eating, da 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 da, and you can see that she's ovulating. And I look at the label. Not only do I know, but I look at the label, say that's an animal with two penises. So probably not.
I mean, there's been weirder things in nature. I guess a male could.
Weirder things than Dave? Never.
Super Dave, there are weirder things, but not by much.
He's a creature all in his own. Savior Dave.
Very much so.
If you guys, one of these days, I'm going to introduce you guys to Super Dave. He's actually on DTG TV, but he hadn't done a video in several years. And
he's on the Bubbly Poop Turtle.
Yeah, and he's been a couple years since he's been on video.
We'll link that video below.
Poop.
Yeah, that was a grand video.
There needs to be another video like that.
I can't even remember what he was. He was talking about.
I remember it blow by blow.
Oh, go ahead.
So we're gonna do a video on our little Aldabra, which is like a 2 or 3 year old at the time. So he's still a little turd, but he's getting some size on him finally. And so what do you do before you're gonna put an animal on camera? You bathe it, right? So it looks all fresh and lovely and beautiful. What do turtles do when you bathe them? They poo, right? So of course, oh, did we lose him? Oh.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
I think the hospital's calling.
Okay, answer it. I may
Sorry, guys.
get called in, guys.
Hello? Oh, I don't. So. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We're doing a podcast right now, but he'll be right there.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting called in, so I'm gonna have to step away from you guys.
All right. What kind of exam is it?
And well, I thank you guys for joining me. Marida's going to be on for a little while with John,
okay,
and
thank you.
they need to hash out some of the issues.
Alrighty, goodbye.
Yeah, I know. They're going to hash out some of the issues they're going to have with the podcast. You got to call John.
Okay, you have to X-ray. I'm on the phone with John.
Oh, are you? Can you hear now, John?
I'm good now. It's just because of the phone, so I was trying to let
you
you
have
know.
to X-ray left shoulder.
Okay.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hopefully I'll be back before you guys are done.
Can you scoot your chair back so I can move the middle?
It is kind of funny though that you said that, because my beardy, every time I freaking bathe that dude, it's instant. Like I bathe him, I clean out his enclosure, right? The first thing that dude does is take a massive poo right in the center of his enclosure.
Don't you just love it when your animals do that? And you know, here's my favorite thing. When they poop right in their water bowl, like, why? Like diarrhea soup. That's what you want to drink for the next week? What's wrong with you? Are you an animal? Then you're like, yeah, they are an animal.
That's my retics, 100%.
Oh, speaking of retics, oh my goodness, my piebalgs are growing up. Freaking awesome. Oh, here's a cute story that you may not have heard. So remember when we did like the moving in video where we had the retics and, you know, we were like playing with them and everything? Well, remember that the house was all like crazy and the living room was like a Tetris board of cages and all that stuff still when you left?
Right.
Okay, so you apparently did not latch the cage to the male pied. And so not only did he get out during the night, he got out and bit someone who was sleeping, who was here to help us unpack animals and rearrange. So that was fun. So Drogo went on.
Was that me though? I don't even remember putting them away. I thought I just gave them back.
You had the mail.
Well, no, I know I had the mail, but I could have swore that I gave the snakes away because I had to run out the door. But it probably was me. I'll take the blame. I don't care.
I don't
Whoever
know.
It was.
It just was funny because, you know, we had the little incident, the retic bite, just the day before or something.
Now your helpers know what a small retic feels like and not to get bit by a big one.
I was like, holy crap, if that would have been one of the big girls, that would have been, which, you know, that's why they're in locked cages, because those big girls could literally murder someone. That would not be cool. Oh, so back to the bubbly poop turtle story. Okay, so I had bathed my beautiful Aldabra, and of course what's going to happen, he's going to poop, and I already know that. So we had a plastic tablecloth on the table, so I was like, obviously this is going to be edited. Sorry.
The vino kicks again.
Just a hair. So if he starts to poop, you know, we'll just stop rolling and we'll clean it up and we'll pick up where we left off. I should probably move my chair to the middle so it's weird. So Dave, you know, Dave is so special. We love you, Dave, if you're listening. He starts telling, and the cameras are rolling, he starts saying how it's good that we're doing an Aldabra turtle video because it's a good starter animal. And we're like, Yeah, super expensive, largest species in the world.
Great.
Definitely good for any 3-year-old or 98-year-old woman. Like, animal gets 4.5 feet tall, lives for over 100 years. That's almost a zero responsibility, right?
Right.
So we're just like rolling and recording everything he's saying. And so finally I was like, Dave, this is an animal with very specialized needs. They're a tropical species, so they need humidity, they need all this stuff. Um, and also they get very large, like the biggest tortoise can possibly grow. That's how big an aldabra gets. And he starts saying, well, yeah, maybe for like an Albanian prince or something. And so anyway, he's talking, and the turtle starts to poop, and he's saying, oh, yeah, he's pooping, I can't believe he's pooping. And I'm telling him, well, he's been in the water, so it's just natural. Turtles poop, which of course, not to mention that he's owned at least a sulcata for a long time. Of course, I take care of it, but that's another story. So anyway, not anymore. So anyway, so we stop rolling, we clean it up, we start rolling again, and we're going with the video, and then he starts pooping again, and he's pooping and he's pooping, and we're like, okay, just waiting. And so we stop, we clean it up, and then we start rolling, and he starts pooping and pooping, and we're like, okay, stop rolling. We clean everything up, we put a new tablecloth, we start rolling again. So then he starts pooping, well, like turtle farting. Turtle farting, but there's nothing coming out, so we're just like, keep going. And so it starts making like these watery, bubbly poop sounds. And yeah, so like the whole time, so it's like bubbly poop turtle plus like the dialogue from Dave. We ended up just publishing it, and I'm like, this is gold right here.
Sounds like me after a night at Taco Bell.
We'll link that video, the bubbly poop turtle video. But yeah, Dave's a classic case. I don't know what he's just a special guy. Tell us about your impressions of Dave.
Does it need to be YouTube, Brent? No, Dave's a good guy. He's a good guy. He really is. He means well. He's just, he needs guidance in life, and he is not very goal focused at this time in his life, which is hard for me because coming from my background, that's kind of what I live off of is, okay, this is your goal, get it done, move on to the next one. But it's not for everyone. Everyone lives a different lifestyle, so you got to be aware of that. And it made it very difficult the day that I was with him. I wanted to punch that poor man in the face a few times. Thankfully, I have self-restraint. Well, some self-restraint. And the day went smoothly. I mean, I had its rough patches, but it was pretty smooth.
We all survived. I would
exactly.
say
That's what I mean, smoothly.
It
could have been a lot worse. We could have all ended up in the hospital.
There for a little while. So we downplayed the retic bite just a hair. I actually lost so much blood. I actually did lose consciousness. And we actually had to pack that snake just as things were, and we had to move and do all that stuff. When we unpacked her, she was still in a pool of my blood and smelled like a rotting corpse because it was summer. And it was really nauseating. And I was like, that's a pool of my blood. Okay, well, all right.
That's fairly, I feel your pain on that because she was right next to my head the entire day.
Yeah, that's true. You're brave.
I've smelled worse. It's all right.
Ugh. And I will say this. So Dave and Mario, and of course you, John, and Emmy, and TJ, and Anton, and everybody was there. The Hotshot Driver, everyone was a key player in getting us moved. And it was really crazy because there were like people giving it 100% like all day. And then toward the end of the day, some of us were just like out of gas and just like couldn't anymore. I mean, we're talking some serious heavy lifting, like 1,000-pound metal caging, and I mean some crazy stuff. 20-foot snakes that were, attacking us and stuff like that. It was very intense. Like, we hadn't had sleep. It was hotter than hell. And so the people that didn't go in 100% in the beginning, like, they had a little bit left at the end. And they really pulled through. And the Hotshot Driver was super amazing. I doubt they're ever going to listen, but I don't even know his name. I should know his name.
Yeah,
and he had his little boy with him.
He was a Marine veteran, so.
Oh, and so for those of you who don't know, J Fealy and his wife are both veterans, and so I always want to give just respect. And I don't know. I mean,
it was a crazy day.
It was a crazy day. It was like full throttle for like 48 hours, just like, oh, so we get back. And we got the stuff unloaded off the flatbed because we had to, because the Hotshot Driver. We got the animals brought indoors, just like in the shoeboxes and all that stuff. And then John disappeared, and we were like, where did he go? Okay, maybe he's, I don't know.
In my closet, okay? I had
He
taken that.
literally-
My body was done.
He literally drug a twin mattress into a closet and closed the doors and went to sleep. And when I found him, I was like,
What? Why didn't you take a picture? Is what I want to know.
I
Like,
should
that
have.
was
We
the
could have
perfect. Yes,
That was
that was
so
the
cute.
perfect.
He looked so cute. Oh, here's the other thing. The night before, we actually got a hotel room for like 2 hours while we slept because there was nowhere to lay down. It was hot. It was crazy. And so there were 5 of us in that room, okay, that were packing during the night. John immediately got his backpack and used it as a pillow and laid on the floor. So like the other 4 of us could take the beds. And I was like, no way, you're our guest. And he was like, zip it, lady. And
that was exactly what I said, guys. I didn't throw any fingers up. I didn't say shut the F up.
No,
I didn't do anything like that. I was very nice. I was just like, zip it.
He literally slept on the floor, and so then I called the front office. I was like, we need more blankets and pillows, and they were like, well, we don't have any. And so I gave him a pillow off of our bed, of course, but he slept there like this, just like a mummy on a backpack pillow.
I made the wrong decision of sleeping right underneath the AC.
I know.
And so the entire night, I know, but like the entire night, I'd go and I didn't even sleep that night. I think I slept for like maybe an hour after you guys left before I showed up. But like the entire night, I'd start shivering, and so I'd go and I'd bump the AC up by 2 degrees, and I'd sit there. Be like, okay, I'm good. Start falling asleep. Be like, nope, I'm cold again. Bump up. Like, I think when we went in there, it started at like 65 degrees. By the time we left the next morning, I think I had it at like between 75 to 78 degrees.
And then we walked into a house that was like 100 degrees and worked for like 12 hours.
It was amazing.
That was awesome.
The stories that you can't get anywhere else, though. Like that's an experience that will never leave us, and it's great.
So there were okay. So then I didn't tell you guys why I cried in the last. I'll tell you guys now why I cried. So there literally was blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of blood, a little bit of tears. I didn't cry over being bitten. I actually think I was pretty cool. John, would you say I was cool?
You were, for what happened, you were the most collected person I've ever seen in my life. Like, you didn't cry. You didn't do anything. You got bit. It sat there. It coiled around a little bit, and you're like, so how are we gonna get it off, guys? And then I started chewing on the tail because I had learned the technique, and I was like, this is gonna work. It's gonna fucking work. Sorry.
Maybe not on a 20.
I don't know if I could say that right now, but I've been drinking, so sorry. This isn't gonna be a kid-friendly video. John Feely is not very kid friendly, even though I have 3 of them.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I'm friendly to kids, but I don't have a very kid friendly mouth.
So I was like, everyone stay calm, blah, blah, blah. The other people in the room kind of heard some commotion, and then they came and looked, and they thought nothing was wrong because, like, Emmy was like, well, I came to see, and you were just standing there, so I didn't think anything was wrong. So I went back to backing turtles. And then finally I was like, okay, I do feel a little bit dizzy. And then I actually fell and lost consciousness. And then I remember waking up, and I was like, where is she? I just asked, like, where is she?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened once I fell?
So you went down, and as you're going down, she decided to try to run back into her enclosure. And me being the dumb human that I am, I grabbed her tail and I said, I'm not playing games anymore, and we're just doing this whether I get bit or not.
I will dominate, bitch.
Yes, basically. And I shoved her into her travel enclosure, and then I started talking to the kids and save
How
your
long
day.
was I out for? Not that long.
You're only out for maybe 30 to 45 seconds. You weren't out very long.
Okay, and then I was like,
The big thing that I was worried about when I looked down and I saw you were out, because we had people behind you, so you went down. You didn't hit hard, though, thank God. What I was really worried about, though, was there was that tiny movable furnace,
yeah.
and that was only about 2 to 3 inches away from where your head hit. I was like, if she had hit that, it would have been a whole new problem.
I know.
Yes. It would have been a whole new problem. But luckily, it was just a bite. We had stuff to clean it instantly. We had the bandages.
And John was a medic.
I started all that.
Yeah. So I woke up and I was like, where is she? And you guys were already like getting her in the container. And I was like, okay, cool. And
she
then
was in, locked up, duct taped.
Yes.
Wasn't getting out. There ain't nothing she could do.
Yes.
And then I looked at the other one and was like, I need a break before we do this.
Yeah, you're like, no, not right now. I know, because we have two big, massive females, and then the male's like, I don't know, 16 feet. He's like a little Twinkie compared to them. So that was fun. Okay, yeah. Oh, so the tears. So that was the blood. The tears.
The tears.
So, well, did you cry?
When we were putting the pig enclosure up.
Oh my God. That
Remember
was
the issue with the pig enclosure.
Tell what happened.
So the Hotshot has a flat rack, right? And each side of this pig enclosure weighs probably a solid 300 to 400 pounds. And that's not stretching the imagination at all.
Like big metal panels, like
yeah, it's just a giant iron structure to keep the pig in. And so I'm carrying probably about a third of the weight at that time, which is fine. I get it to the flatbed, and I tell everyone, okay, we got to lift it up because this is going to be one of our braces to make sure stuff doesn't move. Well,
so the trailer is like 5 feet into the air. Like, it was.
Yeah, 4 or 5 feet. Yeah. So my you win. I'm not fighting you on this.
I'm almost.
It makes me sound better. It's okay.
I could barely see above there, so.
So my right shoulder's messed up from the military in the first place. So I was like, well, I'm going to hold the majority of my weight on my left shoulder. Well, my right arm, I can't fully extend above me without first working into it. And that's the one I used to kind of brace everything up. And between the weight and everything, as soon as we got it up, I walked away. My entire arm went numb because I pinched some sort of nerve in there. It actually took me about 2 weeks to work out. Like, Mama was having to dig in deep to release that. But yeah, my whole arm went numb, and I was like, crap, I think I just messed myself up, and we still have all of this stuff to move. So unfortunately, my body gave, and my tears came out because it wasn't even more of the pain. Like, not to be Billy badass, because I'm not, but it wasn't the pain, it was the frustration. Like the tears came out of frustration because I knew we had so much more that we still had to do, and I felt like I was being a hindrance, and that's one of the things that I absolutely despise, is being a hindrance to anybody. So
Well, you were amazing. Well, you probably didn't know this, but I actually cried too. Did you know about that?
mm.
Okay, so I'll tell you. And I don't know if you even ever found out about this. So I had called my doctor's office about the python bite because I thought with all this stuff, it was pretty nasty. I mean, she like ripped my wrist open, which is why it was so bloody. And then I had a deep gash on you can see there's like a thick pink scar here on this side. And then you can just see like a lot of little, where it was like thin abrasions that bled a lot. So I called my doctor, and he knows JD and I very well, and he's like, "Well, what'd you do?" And I told him what happened. I said, "It's fine, but I probably need antibiotics, and I just need you to call him in because we're literally moving right now." And so when I went to leave all of you guys to drive to the pharmacy, JD was already here, and there was already a mastiff here. I think maybe one mastiff and the little dogs were already here.
Mm-hmm.
He was like so mad because he told me this farmhouse that we live on and all the land had been uninhabited for a while. And he said that one of my mastiffs found a little fawn.
Oh, when he went all werewolf on it?
He killed that little fawn. And I was just, and so he was upset and I was upset, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. And he said that fawn was just mangled, and dogs do stuff sometimes, and he's really a safe dog to be around, but it just was so awful to think. He said it just squealed and screamed, and I don't know if he thought it was a danger, or if he just was playing. I don't know, but it just was really awful and scary, and I don't know, it just scared me. It was awful. And so that I broke down in the car, and he was just like, "When are you going to get here?" And I was like, "We're not even done packing." And, like my arms all wrapped up and bloody. And then, so my clothes were covered in blood, and I still had to go to the store and buy duct tape and all this other stuff and get my antibiotics. And it literally looked like I had just murdered someone or something. And so, I mean, people were looking at me really crazy when I was in public, and I didn't even have any clothes to change into. And then when we were taking the washing machine out, we had broken that water line, so the water was shut off in the house. So like we couldn't even bathe up, we could drink it. That's why we got the hotel room, because we needed showers and stuff. And it was horrible. It was really awful. But thank the Lord, we're moved. And so Lorga's on now, and we actually were talking about you a little while ago, so you'll have to go back and listen, Lorga. But and now Stinky Butt's on. So hello.
I love that.
Stinky Butt, you missed the bubbly poop turtle talks. So you'll have to go back too.
There's gonna be huge amounts of poop talk on this.
Yeah. So,
I mean, in all honesty, it's a huge part of it. Like, that's how you tell whether your animal's healthy or not, besides just the shedding.
That's true. Very true. So yeah. So it was a challenging move, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have attempted it if it weren't for my pig-headed husband, who was like, "Yeah, we're going to Texas." And then my very wise friend Chris Eaton was like, "You guys are fucking idiots. You should sell everything and then just buy new stuff when you get there." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's what smart people would do, but we like to do things the way we do it." And so Lorga said, finally, this children stopped crying now that they have DTG and John on podcast. How sweet. Yeah, so you'll have to go back and listen. We were talking about having you on the show. And we want to know how to say your name, which is actually Peter. That's easier to say. So, this is unprofessional, but there's no way around it. I need to go potty. So, John, why
What
don't
do
you
you want
take
me
over?
to talk about then?
You're going to talk about your collection and what's going on in your world for just like 3 minutes because this house is big. I'm going to run to my bathroom and back.
Go jump.
Oh, there she is. Maybe she can come on too. What are you eating, Beauty?
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
Oh, yummy.
This is a weird camera. It's like right
It looks beautiful, but not as beautiful as you.
She said it was beautiful, but not as beautiful as you. Don't make her laugh too much. She has to go potty.
Yeah. Okay, so John,
So I gotta
tell us
figure out-
everything, and I'll listen to. I don't know.
All right, well, I'll jump into it. I was actually getting ready to put out a video about this, but it's that time of year, I suppose, and make sure you guys are checking your equipment. I unfortunately had my thermostats go out, so I had to adjust the ambient temperatures in the room and make it to where my animals will still be healthy and survive until I bring in my new thermostats. They're already on the way, unfortunately. I had only had those thermostats for about 3 years, so it was kind of frustrating to see that happen. But that's just what kind of happens. Like you get equipment and you use it and you got to check it, but that's part of it. This is entirely more difficult than I thought it would be without someone else to converse with. So you guys that are watching right now, make sure you're chiming in. Let me know what you want to talk about while we're waiting on dear Marita to come back. But so I had 3 gravid females when those went out, and the ambient temperature in my room ended up spiking because, well, like on their hot spots ended up spiking, and I think it ended up hitting about 96 degrees, which didn't kill them, but I have a feeling all of my eggs that I was going to expect for the year are now going to disappear, which is frustrating to say the least because this is my second year with no production. Granted, the first year I only had 1 female that I bred, so the possibilities of even having one, it happens. But I had 3 girls that I know for a fact were gravid, and it's just freaking frustrating. I'm definitely going to get the headset issue fixed so that we don't have to go through all of these different issues, and so I don't have to listen just through the phone, and we can just hit it the way it's supposed to be. She's back, yay! I feel like I'm rambling. I don't know if you guys enjoyed anything that I said, but hopefully you did.
So, did you say that you had some kind of temperature spike in your incubator?
No, not my incubator. So my thermostats went out. And,
oh no!
I don't know if it was just the regulator in them or what it was, but it spiked the hotspot on all of my adults to 96 degrees. And I know I had at least 3 that were gravid, so it's kind of frustrating. I mean, it is what it is. You go through what you go through, but we got new thermostats on the way. I was just saying, hey, now's the time. Check your equipment, whether it's the heat tape, thermostats, what have you. Especially if you live in the desert, because whether you have your windows closed, whatever you do, you get dust and sand everywhere. I don't care how new your house is, how old it is, you're going to get it. So make sure you're checking your stuff, making sure you don't have a buildup. So
yeah.
Joys of keeping reptiles.
It is joyous. So, there's a lot of new people getting to know me, and I hear things every day like, you're crazy. Why do you do it? I definitely thought you were a psycho before I got to know you. I don't know what they think after they get to know me, but I think it is very joyful, and I think keeping reptiles is amazing. It's having a hobby, though, where you're relying on a living creature. Um, it's different. It's not like collecting cards or buttons or driving cars, where I don't know, the margin of error is either zero or I guess maybe a mechanical error. I don't know. Um,
I
it's
don't eat when I'm on camera. Thank you.
um, it can be frustrating, but on the other hand, it's so when you see those eggs hatching out, or if you're working with a new species and they're doing well, it's so amazing because the impact it makes. I mean, you're bringing new life into the world,
Mhm.
especially if you're working with like a threatened species or a species that is having their environment threatened somehow. Um,
Exactly, and it feels like a fulfillment. Like, granted, not everyone, like most people come into this hobby and they think, okay, I'm just getting one or two, which never happens. Like, if you can look me dead in the eye and yeah, if now granted you might be able to hold one or two for a couple of years, but it always goes beyond that. Like, you can't look me dead in the eye with a straight face and tell me, hey, I got one or two snakes and that's all I'm ever gonna have. It just doesn't happen. You get addicted.
I think that would be crazy.
And then once you go into that, like, as everyone gets into this for different reasons, but everyone eventually breeds or at least tries their hand at breeding. You know what I mean? Like, it's not saying that you will forever be a breeder, but I think that's one of the steps you take in this hobby. Like, you go from keeping and learning about that animal to breeding to possibly going into business, and not everyone is going to do that, and that's perfectly fine. I honestly, I don't think I will ever be considered a breeder per se.
Why not?
I have too many different ambitions in my life.
For example,
Uh, so, for example, right now I'm working on my RN. As soon as my RN is done, I am going for my physician assistant license. And if I get through that and have the grades, I'm going for a doctorate to become a surgeon. So I have about 8 years of schooling left to go if all pans out. And then once that happens, as your husband is very keen to or towards, you're on call all the freaking time,
hmm
all the freaking time once you go that route. So I will always keep reptiles. I will always do YouTube. I will always do this podcast, but breeding and saying that I'm going to devote the majority of my life to that is just not feasible for me right now. Like, besides just the medical aspect, I want to grow this. I want to grow an education program. I want to do, like, I just have so many things that I want to do with my life. I can't say that I'm going to focus solely on breeding. And if you can't focus on it, I'm not going to say solely on it, because you can be successful with multitasking. I'm the I'm not going to say I'm the epitome of that, but I can't. I'm just focusing on one thing. I'm very unsuccessful because I get bored with it. Like, I have to constantly have myself in a kind of a fight or flight scenario. I guess I'm very good at procrastinating and forcing out like 6 or 7 projects at the last minute or whatever I want to do, which is, it's one of my character flaws, but it's how I work. Um, but yeah, just me as myself. Like, I will breed, and I have plans on breeding different species, but I can't say that I'm going to solely be a breeder because there's just too much that interests me outside of just breeding. But there is a huge fulfillment in seeing those eggs come and being able to see those babies come out of those eggs healthy. And then on the reverse, there's a very sad and negating feeling when something goes amiss.
Yeah, I hear that. So I've been told there's a lot of echo, and I've been told to read an email, but my emails aren't loading past a certain point. So let me know if the echo is better or worse. And John, can you still hear me? Okay.
I got you through my headset on my phone.
Oh. Okay.
My gain's really high. Is that better? Maybe.
I don't know. Let's see.
We are still figuring this equipment out, guys. I'm very sorry. Is this better? I'm sorry. Okay, so it's something in my house. It's something I have to work on. I'll figure it out, guys.
Oh, R&B is on. So Ryan, Ben, come on. I don't know who's on, if it's Ryan or Ben, but they have to come and visit me. And I told them we're in such a remote area, you can't even find us on GPS. And they're like, how are we going to find you? And I was like, oh, I'll find you. You got to come here. And so, yeah, they have to visit. They have to visit. Oh, it's Ben. I love you, Ben. Still an echo. Oh, okay. So let's see. I was told the email is the most recent one. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Seeing. Oh, hold on. No, maybe not. Nope, that's not it. All right. Well, I'm not seeing an email. Seeing a zillion Pet Mountain emails. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know which email it is. Nope. It's Pet Mountain. So,
we got to figure this out. I don't know why I'm echoing. I apologize, guys.
Well, I'm thinking it's because they can hear you on the phone and on the. I don't know.
Well, it's just through my headset. I'm not picking up my headset, which
Not sure. So yeah, we're trying to figure out how to use all these new microphones and things. Yes. Took us a long time the first night to get. Okay, so apparently the email was from Nelson Rodriguez. I have these vegans I'm thinking about breeding, but they're not showing any interest to this point. I don't see any tapping, no signs of interest. So I'm guessing they want me to give them breeding tips. So here's a couple things that I've noticed in the past. First of all, sometimes if you have animals that are not interested in breeding, it's because they're improperly sexed or maybe not both the exact same species. So double check that first, because I've tried to mate male to male in the past. That's only happened a couple times, but it's happened. Or female to female. And obviously it's not a species that's very sexually dimorphic, but it's happened and I learned some stuff. And I've never had any species produced from, any same-sex relationships. So that's a good lesson to learn. Let's see. Also, maybe your female isn't sexually mature yet, so she might need to grow up a little bit more. So if you are sure that you have two sexually mature adults of the same species of opposite sex, once you know all that, you want to wait for your male to drop a sperm web. Yes, I said the word sperm. I'm going to say it again. Sperm web. If you don't know what that is, That is a long, skinny web that the male will actually deposit sperm onto. I know I'm going to get nailed for this, metaphorically only. What he does is he drops reproduction materials down onto his special web.
I mean, that term is actually
Scientifically accurate.
term and scientifically correct. So
It is.
if you have an issue with it, well, it's not our fault that science decided to call it that.
Sperm is real.
It is, so it's the shortened version. It's literally called a spermicide, but it's sperm. Get over it.
Right. So what he will do is he will lay that long, skinny web, which is very distinct, and he will actually deposit sperm onto it, and then he'll take his pedipalpal bulbs, and he'll go and he'll suction it up, and then when he is with the female, they'll get into this dance, and you guys have probably seen it a zillion times, and if you haven't, check out my breeding and reproduction playlist, and trust me, there's over 100 videos on there. So then once he can get to her epigastric fold, he actually like squeezes those little bulbs, and that's how he deposits the sperm into her, which I think is really, really cool. So my producer is making another point that also one of them might be too close to a molt, which if she's too close to a molt, the last part of the process is then when she is going to lay her eggs, they pass through the epigastric fold, and that's actually when they're fertilized, which is very interesting because it's a lot different from mammalian intercourse. And so if she's too close to a molt, she will lose that deposit when she molts. So the females won't waste the energy to be bred. And so if she's too close to a molt, that might be why she's not being receptive to breeding. And so also make sure never to put a male in with a hungry female. That seems like common sense, but you know what might happen. Use your imaginations.
I mean,
cannibalism is real, guys. It's real. And sometimes actually the females will breed with the male and then eat them. And sometimes that means that it was a successful pairing because she's like, now I need me a power snack, y'all. And so that's happened before. Not very often. If you watch my breeding videos, I pretty much always save my meals. That was back in the day when I was just a young thing. But it's happened. So let's see, who was that to? Who was I talking to? Nelson. So Nelson, I hope that answers your email, and I hope you're listening, which I don't know if you are, Nelson, because pretty much almost no one's on. So thank you for the people who are here. And I'm not sure what time we came on, but it's probably been about an hour.
It's been a little bit over an hour. I'm enjoying it. So whatever you guys want to do.
I know. I can just go on forever and ever. So I'm really excited. I'm going to Sanderson to get that pair of tricolor hogs tomorrow. And I love hognose. They're kind of little buggers, but they're really awesome. Okay, so here's a strange little episode I had with one of my hognose last night that maybe is 6 months old. So little tiny worm of a snake. So the other night, I'm taking care of animals, and I see this little huggy is upside down with the head kind of curled. And I'm like, what the heck? That was a fat little booger, was eating, was doing great. And so I went to pick it up, and I'm like, what happened? I mean, it was feeding. What could have gone wrong? So I go to pick it up, and it starts wiggling all around. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. So then it starts moving around like it has neurological problems, like twisting the head and doing all this strange stuff. And I thought, okay, well, Arlington. Ben, are you guys going to Arlington? Oh, I hope so. I love you too. Text me. Bye. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this kid had like a brain aneurysm or something. I mean, animals, sometimes strange things happen to them. So I made sure the heat was on and the animals comfortable and they had water. Not that they could probably drink when they're having a crazy spaz, but making sure that it had what it needed, for the night. It was probably going to pass during the night. The next day I go and I'm like, the little guy probably didn't make it through the night. Oh, Ben, I can't wait to see you.
Heck yeah.
Oh my
Look
gosh.
forward to meeting you.
Yeah, so okay, if you're not following R&B's on the comment feed, Ryan and Ben, and they said they're going to Arlington. I can't wait. It's in like 2 weeks or something. Yay! Okay, so
Finally a show.
yeah, I know they don't make it down to our neck of the woods all that often. You're gonna have to come to my house and we'll have a sleepover. It'll be fun. I won't make you sleep in the closet. John chose to do that, and then in the morning he
The
came out of the
only
closet.
place where
Yeah.
it was quiet, and no one was moving, and there was no light. I found the quietest place that I could.
Funny thing is that mattress is still in the closet. We've been so busy.
Oh, you saved my bed for me. That's so sweet.
I did. So anyway, that little hoggy. So the next morning I go to probably didn't make it. And it's still doing that. And I'm like, what the heck? Should I euthanize it? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me wait and see. It did that for like 2 or 3 days. And then today I'm like, surely it's passed by now. Like, I don't know what the heck. It's fine. Just being its normal everyday self now.
That's weird.
Oh, daily life of a gypsy with exotic animals that I'm also friends with famous YouTubers. Cool. Who are you friends with? I want to know them too. So that was a really weird. I've never seen an animal act like that. And then be okay. I've seen animals born with neurological problems that act weird their whole lives. Sometimes they live, sometimes they don't. I don't usually euthanize animals. As long as they're feeding, I let them live. I mean, I wouldn't want to be murdered just because I had an ear infection. You know how rats get all weird. I don't know. That does hurt though, so I do feed them off. But I mean, little snakies, if they want to live, even if they're a little bit special. So I don't know what the heck was up with that. It was weird.
Random animal. It's just a random animal. It's coming into its own personality.
Maybe.
That's one thing I can say. Like I can attest to. Like an animal. Each animal is gonna have its own personality. Whether we want to view these animals as intellectual or not, like just the way they react to certain things, and if you spend time with your animals, you're gonna notice it. And it's crazy. Like my collection's not very big. Like I think with my 2 new retics and the spiders, I'm sitting at like maybe 40 animals total. So it's not a lot, but
That's a lot.
like to know a different personality for each one and kind of their ticks and what pisses them off, what they're willing to deal with. It's a big thing, and it's if it's not showing signs of anything neurological, I would just assume that he's just trying to figure out his own life at this point. And I mean, like I think that's why I'm such a I wouldn't even say an advocate, but a lot of my videos lately have been about getting my snakes out, or a lot of my photos that I put out is about getting my snakes out and exercising them, and getting them to eat some of their quirks, I guess, ticks, quirks, whatever you want to call it, because they all act differently to the same scenario. It's crazy the variances, and even the same species. Like, I don't know. It's a very interesting life that we lead with these animals.
Oh, Deadly Tarantula Girl is giving you some advice online. I'm guessing that's the other me that's online. John, hold the microphone on the earbuds. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Do you understand that? Yeah, we don't know what you mean. So, I don't know. I don't know if the pop filter is supposed to touch the microphone. Not sure. I don't know. Okay. So, I was going to ask you something. Oh, is there a mic on the earbuds? He's asking.
There is. That side is down though. I'm trying to keep it as far away from the microphone as possible.
Okay.
That's probably where the pickup is coming from. So
I see.
the next time we're up, I will have a professional set of headphones, so we won't have that issue anymore.
Yeah, I'm loving these headphones, and hopefully, so I know the last show we did like this was really pixelated. It's not looking like that's happening. We got our internet improved to like the top possible internet, although that's what we were paying for before. I don't know. We are in a very remote area. Oh, somebody's saying they know Rob C. Very cool. I don't know if he doesn't like me or I don't know. I've reached out to him a couple times. He didn't really respond at all. So, anyway, just, seems like there was something else.
I like it. I think your picture's coming in a lot clearer.
Yeah, it does look better. And the audio last time though was like crystal clear, and so hopefully that's sounding good with all of our new microphone headset, all that stuff.
Besides my feedback, but we kind of knew that was probably coming today since I don't have a set of headphones without a mic.
Right. Hopefully that'll be better by the next time.
Oh yeah.
So tell us what kind of issues or topics you would like to tackle on our podcast.
I think my biggest one is just like we kind of mentioned before, the focus on history. I've been talking to, I wouldn't even necessarily say like older people in the industry, but people that have been around a significant amount of time. And we're talking about how a lot of the people that started the industry or like that were doing the things, which I guess I'm just going to say it because I don't want to hold anything back on the podcast, is a lot of people just smuggled the animals in that they wanted. And that's how you had to do it back then. There's just no way around it. But a lot of those guys that were involved in that lifestyle and bringing all these species that we know and love into the U.S. are getting a little bit older. Their stories are starting to go away. As you talked about recently, there's been people in the industry passing away.
Ken Foose, for one, just passed away.
And there's just so much knowledge and history that is being lost to the people that are going to come in that have never had the opportunity to talk to them. And it's harder. I think it's going to be a real struggle for us to kind of get to where we can interview those people regularly. But that's something that we're going to have to work out, and hopefully that those people will be willing to. Like, I know there's some people that just, they don't want anything to do with video. They're okay with the audio portion of it, but they don't want to be on camera, and that's their right. So we're going to have to find ways around it. But there's a lot of stories and a lot of history that is going to be lost if we don't get it recorded in some fashion.
Right. Well, I scheduled to interview Tom Crutchfield a few times, and unfortunately, I mean, he's actually invited us to his place. He's in such a remote area that he really can't live from his area because it's just they don't have the broadband or whatever it is there, and so we'll just have to go to his house and interview him. So maybe next year we'll head to Florida because we're kind of getting settled in here. I mean, this fall and winter are gonna fly by, so maybe we'll go to Florida in the spring. That'll be fun. You want to go with us?
That would be
bleep, bleep, bleep. No, just kidding. Yeah,
yes,
really fun.
if we go to Florida, I definitely want to go to Mr. Crutchfield's place and meet him. Absolutely. I would
His
love
place
to
is
do that.
beautiful. And then, so I found out that Chris Dieter just opened up a new croc encounter. I don't know if you know who that is, but he has a badass croc farm. What city is he in? I can't think. He's got a beautiful park. We did a video there. That's where I got my original Potbelly pics from. And I love Chris. He's amazing. I mean, amazing. And so they just opened Croc Encounter 2. I don't know what they're calling it. But so big shout out to Chris. Big shout out to Brooke, who is working hard on his zoo in Columbus, Texas. Yeah, so many cool people out there doing cool things. Brooke Burnson, his I don't know when he's going to open up, but check him out on Facebook. He shows he's building this place, just him and one or two other people sometimes, but just every day taking care of animals and literally putting up buildings, and it is nuts seeing that place. And so he's partnered with having a brain fart. The guy that owns DFW Reptarium, I can see him in my mind.
Oh, Jesus.
It's really cute. Think of any cute guys you know, John.
Well, I mean, there's me.
Well,
My
yeah.
wife tells me that every day.
If you're into Genjis,
I don't know.
I can't think.
My head's. I'm really bad with names in the first place. If you know me, you've probably had to introduce yourself by name a few times before I remember you.
I'm kicking myself right now. So daily life of a gypsy boy with exotic animals is saying that they're friends with Rob C. and they're from the UK. So thank you for visiting us from the UK. They also said that you quit talking to Rob C. recently. Is there some juicy gossip there, or just have you not been in touch? I don't know.
I just suck at social media, pretty much.
Oh, so speaking of which, I'm a fan of Gary V, which if you don't know who that is, he's a big YouTuber, and he's on pretty much any social media. He's a marketing guy. I've been on his show, and he's all about trying to stay connected with people through social media. I had actually shut down pretty much all my social media, except I was going to delete my Facebook account, but then JT with Reptichip had that bad fire, and so I went ahead and stayed on so we could help however we could there. So we're looking into getting back onto IG again, maybe. I don't know. It's been so nice to not be on social media for a little while we were getting moved and stuff. But I know it's a cool way to stay connected with people. I do enjoy that part of it, but it's also been nice to just kind of fly under the radar.
Unplug every now and then and just focus on you.
It is. It's been good for me. So I started my new job here in Texas, and I have to say I love all my people that I work with. I mean, every single one of you. You guys know who you are. You're amazing. I love my new kids. And I love my old kids. If you're listening from Roswell, I love you guys. But I don't know. Maybe I love too much. I love my new kids. They're freaking amazing. People here have such community spirit. It's so awesome. It's been so fun. We've been going to the high school football games, and our team's tearing it up. We had the homecoming game last night, and it was so fun. Oh my gosh. It just was awesome. We're loving our new place.
Homecoming already? I thought
school
started 2 weeks ago.
I've been back to work a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so school starts early here, and it lets out early here, at the end of May. And so I know we've already had our homecoming game, and we smoked that other team, who shall remain nameless. It was 78-7. That's bad. Yeah, it was so bad. But The first game they did really well too. Actually, the very first game got canceled because I think someone on the other team came out positive with the Rona. And then the second game we killed, and then this homecoming game we kind of spanked them bad. It was kind of hard to watch. Ooh, but delicious hamburgers at the concession stand. So, yay, whoever was grilling, that was delicious. Yeah. Ooh, I hear someone coming. Hi, Tyra. Come here.
Hey, Gypsy Boy, if you'll do me a favor and just reach out. I'm sorry, like I said earlier, I'm really bad with social media. Just reach out to me on whatever platform we've been talking with, and we'll get back in touch. I'm slowly coming back to it. I just had to take some personal time.
Here's Cairo for anyone who cares about Cairo. He kind of got. Oh, he was told he couldn't come in here, but apparently he just came in here.
Yeah, he's been, but all right. Yeah, he's happy, and his brain is so tiny that he's already forgotten that he had an injury.
No.
Look at the size of that head. Okay, that is not a big brain.
He's smart.
So
he does chase after horses, and he thinks he's a herding dog when
No.
he pounds.
Oh, he hurt all right.
so this let's see, daily life of a gypsy boy with XZOTLC animals said. We watched Roxy since 2009 when he was a kid. He never spoke to him, and he came back on YouTube in 2020. Yeah, the guy is not that easy to get a hold of. He just doesn't really care about people, which his videos pretty much show that. And he was actually the inspiration for this channel. We had talked about different ways to do it, and we decided that since she is just a little bit prettier than I am, that we should put her in front of the screen. And
well, there weren't any females being represented at the time. Now they're all over the place, and that is awesome.
Yes, it is. And there's more women in the hobby that we'll actually probably be trying to interview. There's some greats like Kathy Love. We've been trying to get it to do a video chat with her for at least 5 years, and she just doesn't want to get in front of the camera. She's pretty much done with snakes for the most part. I think she just has a small colony now. And we found out that Tracy Barker, she doesn't want to be in the limelight anymore. Mm-hmm. She's pretty much done with all this.
Oh, I also want to say another sad thing in the hobby is that Bonnie Reisman, who's the organizer of the Texas Reptile Expo, which is going on this weekend, definitely go. It's in McQueenie. She is in poor health right now, and so we love her. She's been one of our longtime sponsors, and we're praying that she recovers because she is just precious. And go to the show if you're anywhere in the McQueenie area this weekend.
Yeah, we were hoping to go, but we're pretty much sold out for animals for this year. We had a pretty good year, and with the move, it was just too much for us to try to get out there that quickly. But anyway, so back to the podcast. John, you were talking about wanting to interview some of the greats. So what we need to do is we need to come up with some kind of a new thing for the podcast. Do you have any ideas? Something that's never been done before.
Come on, John. Pull that out of your butt right now.
Never been done before.
Hand me my water, please.
What are you talking about? Everything's been done before.
Everything.
So I think one of the things that we don't really touch on is, or that hasn't really been done, is the females in the industry. And I really want to give them the due credit that they deserve, because there are a lot of females that, and it kind of falls into our history. Like, there's a lot of females that help pave the way as well as males, but I feel like they've somewhat been outshined. Not saying that it's a bad thing or it's a good thing. I just feel like for a long time, this industry was looked at as a male hobby.
Well, it has been male dominated. That's a fact.
So I think the females that are willing to come forward and want to talk on here and have had a valuable impact on this hobby should definitely get their voice out and be able to voice their opinions and talk about things that they've had to deal with coming up in the industry, because it's, whether you're male or female, it's not an easy industry to come up into.
So speaking
There's a lot of bad blood, but there's a lot of good people, is the best way of saying it, I suppose. But I would like to see different sides than what we always see with this podcast, because you have a bunch of great podcasts that you could listen to reptile wise, but I feel like a lot of them are focused more towards the future, and before we lose people and before the history is forgotten, I would like to get that put out and on record, and then we can focus on where we need to move forward with. But I think that's the vital part right now, is focusing on the history.
Yeah, and you had mentioned a little. Well, you were going to say something. What were you
I
saying?
was just going to say that. So the NARBC invited me to come as a speaker last year. Was that last year? Oh, no, this spring.
It was February.
Yeah. And so the talk that I gave was actually about the women, the history of women with reptiles. And it wasn't a huge audience because they had moved the lectures to a new area. But the people who heard it said it was really good. And so I've been asked to please repeat that lecture. And so, yeah, you should come.
Hey.
Well, you had mentioned, John, a little earlier as I was leaving work that a lot of these animals we have were smuggled in, but the reality
Originally, not the ones we have now.
Well, there were a lot of the animals, for instance, the bearded dragons, they were illegal as could be. Not to say that anybody did anything illegal. And now they're a major part of the hobby. I mean, there are so many bearded dragons being captive bred, and if has to probably be a few that are smuggled in here and there, but there's no reason to do it. They're so cheap that it's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. So, but the thing is that it goes hand in hand with the smuggling was actually because of the drugs. I mean, the drugs is really where
that.
a lot of these animals that came in, for instance, cobras, back in the 70s and those times, people were bringing drugs in and they'd pack a bunch of cobras on top of them, and then nobody wanted to open up that package to examine it.
Not all cobras came with drugs, but a lot of them, I guess.
But a lot of these
That's why they're so smart. Kids don't do drugs.
Yes, that's exactly true. But the history is toiled in turbulent times, which basically anything that you talk about that's an industry now had some kind of a dark past. There's a rumor, I don't know for sure, but they say that Coca-Cola actually had cocaine in it when it started, and that's why it became so popular.
So delicious. I need more.
But the drug hobby and the reptile hobby, there were a lot of animals that wouldn't be here if there wouldn't have been drug smuggling. They found these routes to bring the drugs in, and the animals
to bring in goods,
and live goods were brought in the same way. And without that, we would not have 90% of what we have of the Australian animals that are in the hobby, because all those people were dedicated enough. Once they got here, they got them to whatever sickness they went through and actually got them to reproduce and learn more about them. And now we have them in the hobby. And not all of them made it. There are a lot of species that were brought over that people. One thing that's really blowing my mind right now is that toka geckos now hit the endangered species list. And that used to be a common animal. Everybody would sell them for $20, and now there are some that are thousands of dollars because they're getting to be so uncommon. And of course, you want to go captive born, but you don't. When you're starting out in the hobby, you start out with some of that inexpensive stuff, And someday that inexpensive stuff that you were looking at, like colubrids right now, they were a snake that everybody started out with because they were so cheap, and now you can't hardly touch them for less than $300 just for a normal animal, and the price goes up from there. So we want to talk about all that and the trends that have occurred to the hobby. In the 90s, ABS started putting out these little books for $8, and they would give you enough information to keep your animal alive and successful. There was a lot of good information in those books. Now everybody goes to Uncle Google for all their information, and unfortunately, Uncle Google isn't always right. So we need to go back to those days when people. There's a lot of discussion about morphs too, that people are selling animals as a morph that they're really not because they haven't been proven out or because they just kind of look similar. We heard a story from what's her name that did the vampire cats or whatever. Yeah, she does ball pythons now.
Oh, Brittany Gobble.
Yeah, she spent all this money genetic testing
vampire
these cats.
What?
I don't know what they're called. They're cats.
Savannah cats.
No, they aren't Savannahs.
No, he's talking about the lichens.
There you go. See, vampire cats.
No, it's a werewolf cat.
Yeah,
The lichen is a werewolf, but those things are freaking awesome too.
They're a cat.
Have you, dude? Those cats.
I'd rather have a Savannah.
I mean, I would rather have hairless Egyptian, so I don't have to worry about that at all. But.
And she actually has an Arctic fox as well, and his name is Faux.
Back to the story.
Yeah. Love you, Brittany.
She spent all this money doing the genetic testing on the cats, and then some lady calls her up and says, "Hey, I've got one of those cats, and I want to ask big money for it." And it was some cat that she had found out in the alley.
With mange.
Yeah.
So Lorga's correcting, guys. They're the Lycoy cats.
Sorry.
Thank you, Lorga. Peter.
And now Brittany's gonna yell.
Brittany Double. I love her. Check her out. She has a channel.
She does amazing photography too.
Yeah, she is good. But on top of that, with the animals, people are selling like. I don't know if everybody's heard, but with ball pythons, it was a red ball python that was supposedly produced. A bunch of people prepaid for head animals, got the animals. Of course, they were heads, so they all look normal. Bred those animals back and found out that the guy had actually used a dye to color them.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So there are standards that we need to bring into this hobby. Earl Jones, I don't know. Lone Star Reptile, I'm sure you guys all know him. We talk constantly, like with John. We're always yakking back and forth about this stuff.
That's true.
So there's a guy here locally that we actually need to give away his books. He wants to next year put on a show that actually has a panel of judges come in and actually mark the needed markings to define hognose snakes. What makes a conda? What makes an albino?
Oh, there's so many morphs. I had no idea until we got his morph book. It was awesome.
So Earl's talking about wanting to do the same thing with ball pythons. And we need to self-regulate with venomous too. You know, we don't want people getting drunk and going on Facebook and showing them holding their pet rattlesnake, because kids see that and then they think they can do it. So as far as the industry and it being the way it started, I mean, it didn't all start that way. Back in the 30s and the 40s and even the 1800s, there's a story of the early 1800s that somebody brought in a Poecilotheria, which is an ornamental tarantula, into England, and they had it at the zoo till it got cold. They didn't have any way to heat it because there was no electricity, and the animal died. So all this stuff has been going across the world longer than there's even records of. And we're hoping to catch as much of that as we can on our podcast, just so that it's actually set down.
Documented.
Yeah. So that's one of our big hopes with this.
Yeah.
So, it said it was an albino ball python painted red, which I did not know. I thought it was just a normal they painted red.
Well, he said hoax albino.
Yeah, but they painted albino red, and that's what. And that guy got a ton of money, and people are still looking for him. And we also know of some tortoises that were smuggled out of where is the
Talking about the
Anticommand come from?
plowshares?
Madagascar. Yeah, I think there were plowshares. Some guy smuggled a bunch out of there, and the governments of our country and Madagascar and a couple other countries are still looking for the guy. And that was like 20 years ago. So
Probably more than that now.
maybe, but the price of trying to bring stuff in illegal and do illegal stuff, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot doing that. So we do want to be as legal as possible. It's just difficult. They make laws every day. Like I don't know if you guys have heard, but in Florida, they actually put down the law where it's illegal to keep iguanas and tegus right now, because the government actually did something that was considered, they didn't say illegal, but basically they made an illegal move and didn't put it in front of the forum first. So we want to protect ourselves as much as we can, and self-regulation and getting together. We all need to join together and try to keep our eyes on this stuff and help each other out, because these laws, I guess Alabama just put in a bunch of legal stuff, and the guy did a great video where, should I say what he did? Because I don't want to advertise. He's got a bunch of retics, and he said he sold them all off, and now he wanted to show his new corn snake. He said, this is a real pretty corn snake, and he's got a 12-foot retic in the cage. And he said, here's my gray rat snake. He's got another retic. He just renamed him, which, I feel for him, because to lose your rights to keep animals, I mean, and there's way more, there's so much more stuff they should be regulating that they're not. So
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate. So hopefully we're going to hit a lot of topics on that. Hopefully we'll get a chance.
We need to have Ryan and Ben on the podcast too.
Yes, but they're going to be, did they say they're going to be?
Yep.
So hopefully they'll get to go over to Earl's, and we'll get to sit down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Fun.
We've got a lot of people that we want to try to go through, and I don't know if we're going to be able to even hit a 10th of them, but hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. You ready to have some fun, John?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm ready to do this.
We won't make you move anything too heavy. Don't want to make you cry.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No,
I love you.
good.
No, seriously. You saved me.
I'll drink a bunch of bangs, and we'll do podcasting all night, and everyone will hate me because I'll be hyped up on creatine.
You probably literally saved my life. Imagine if it were left to
Super Dave.
Savior Dave.
I would have been reincarnated by now. No, I freaking adore you. Thank you. I know that when you volunteered or you got voluntold that you didn't really know what you were getting.
Hey, do you have a ball hitch on your truck? I might need it. Okay, man. No problem.
Yeah, I tend to use my favors up pretty quick.
All right. Don't worry about it.
And we're moved. You have to come back over and see like everything's actually set up.
I'm excited. I watched that last video, and I was just like,
and thank
I was
Jesus
astounded
that you were not on the last
nice
leg of the
it looks.
trip.
You guys did amazing.
We'll have to actually like make a video where we haven't even shown everything yet.
We are just getting started. Our channel is we need to get videos out there. We're aware of that, and we're slowly working, but the animals come first. So we've been trying to get everything back to where we started, and we'll start doing more videos, but we're going to be adding a lot of content that we haven't had before. So we're really excited about that. And the old material, the tarantula breeding, of course, that's all going to go on. And we've got a lot of projects that we've been working on for several years that are in the next year or two are going to start maturing out. We're going to be able to show those
coming to fruition.
Yeah, we got a retic. We measured this little retic.
Oh, I'm educated.
We measured a retic that we had bought as a little snake about 2 years ago, and she's about 12 foot long now. And I was stupid because I pulled her out, stuck her around my neck, and was helping her shed, and started looking at the snake, and it was hanging over one side and hanging over the other side of me. I'm going, wait a minute. What's the rule for having a snake around your neck?
How big is this bee?
So measured her and realized that I should never have done that. But it's just,
Danger, Will Robinson.
when you've seen a snake every day for the last 2 years, you don't realize how big they've got.
That's how it is when you gain weight too. We're back in the gym, by the way. It's ugly.
So, but it's what time is it? I think that clock is wrong.
No, it is
It's
that
almost
late.
midnight for you guys.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that clock is wrong. So I guess we'll have to let you guys go. Thank
Yeah.
everybody that hung out with us. And the next
Emmy, I
video,
love you.
and the next video that we guys do with John, he's gonna have those headphones, so the feedback shouldn't be a problem. It's just gonna be bouncing audio. What were you gonna say?
I should be putting out a live probably Tuesday afternoon. So we'll be shooting the audio again and making sure we're right so that the next, well, I guess the first official podcast, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll actually schedule it out. We're actually talking about starting a whole new channel for it, and working from the ground up. So you guys have to bear with us. We'll try to get as much messages as we can, letting you guys know. But the first few the first few podcasts, we're probably going to bounce back and forth between our channel and John's channel, just to get the word out a little more.
Absolutely. I think
So
that's good.
daily life's been blowing up the comment feed. You sound super duper cool. It was fun to meet you. Thanks to Emmy and Gotta Love Carpet Pythons, and to Peter, Lorga, Ramiro, and everybody else. Let's see who else came on tonight. You guys are awesome. We love you guys.
And Gotta Love Carpet Pythons, we do want to have you on
Yes.
the podcast because we want to talk to you about Australian animals. We have lots of
came
questions.
on. The Gibson Kids was on here.
Gaze is pretty good.
Kate Williams.
She's
Yeah,
been around since I came
Ball.
on YouTube. and she's-
Sticky Butt came on.
we watch her too.
Scouty Poo.
That's my wife.
Aww.
We'll blow her up. I've been trying to get her back onto videos and she won't do it.
Come on.
Well, I mean, like, she'll do videos for me, but she really likes makeup and stuff, and I've been trying to get her to create a channel for herself.
Yes. Oh, and also
I mean, that's what it is.
big thanks to Hattie, my friend who's been over here, my teacher friend who's been over here helping us set things up and coming on the channel a couple times. She's awesome. So love all of you guys. You all are super amazing. And we still have work to do, sadly. So we'll see you guys next time.
Time to go out with Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us, John. I'm sorry I didn't get your headphones. It's my fault. He sounds like sounds with all that reverb because I didn't send him headphones. I was too cheap to do it. So I screwed all of us.
Blame it all on him, guys.
Yes, blame it on me. It's always my fault. All right, man. Take care, guys. Good night, John.